Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode, the Mark 1 Vauxhall Carlton. Hello, welcome back, and if you're new to Quarterlight is a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars and car brochures, please consider subscribing. It is completely free. So yes, we're continuing our look at this Vauxhall range for 1978. Today's episode, I guess the clue is on the front cover there, the Vauxhall Carlton Mark 1. So let's take a look at that now. So here is today's brochure, and this is actually part 4 of this Vauxhall all model catalogue dated October to December 1978. Now, like I say, we've done 3 episodes already. First episode was the Chevette, then the Viva, then the Cavalier, and now the Carlton. Really doesn't matter what order you watch these in. If you want to watch them all, I'll do a link at the end to the other episodes. Anyway, today's episode, Mark 1 Vauxhall Carlton. Now, the reason I've chosen this brochure and the reason why I really like this brochure is kind of like a big sort of change really for Vauxhall. Vauxhall have very much been in the doldrums. Around this sort of time, the fortunes are picking up. They've got the Cavalier, it's doing pretty well. Yeah, it's not doing as well as the Ford Cortina, but yeah, I mean it's still doing better. And also this is a change in fortunes in another way for Vauxhall, and the true Vauxhall models are coming to the end. Yeah, this is the Vauxhall Vivas in this brochure, but that certainly really doesn't really match the rest of the range, and it's coming to an end. And then we've got cars like the Carlton Mark 1, who's actually just come out. It came out in September 78, so a brand new car for Vauxhall, where the Viva's coming to the end. This is a brand new car, the Carlton. But the difference is, this is really a rebadged Opel, isn't it? An Opel Rekord E. So certainly more Opel models now than anything else. And indeed, the Opel Rekord was actually sold alongside the Vauxhall Carlton at the time. Of course, the main difference with the Carlton having that droop snoot to match the rest of the range, Chevette, Cavalier. Anyway, let's open the brochure up and get to the first page for the Carlton. And here it is. I always found the Mark 1 Carlton, because of that droop snoot, one of the most interesting of the Carlton actually. I think later on it possibly came a little bit bland, but then with this droop snoot, I think it looked a little bit interesting in my view. But it had a tough job on its hands, competing against cars like the Granada, which was a big range of cars. It was already up against it, I think. There was quite a few cars to compete with other sorts of foreign competition. Think Citroen CX, Renault 2030, and of course the Rover SD1 as well. So a lot of competition for it. I think the Granada was the main competitor. That was like the number 1 car in the UK of that size at least. But of course, like I said, it's more or less just an Opel with that droop snoot and a few little minor changes which we might have a look at. Anyway, let's have a look at the introduction at the top here. We'll come back and look at the cars themselves. If we can see, there's both Saloon and Estate available, and then we'll look at the range, or that might be a little bit of an issue, but we'll have a look at the range if there is a range, I think is the key to say. And like I say, let's have an introduction first though. So it tells us Carlton Saloon and Carlton Estate, 2 models of striking design that personify the new wave of Vauxhall cars with beautifully proportioned lines that are also highly functional. Through extensive wind tunnel tests, refinements were incorporated into the wind-cheating, noise-reducing shape. The air flows over and around the car with a minimal of turbulence. Result: good fuel consumption, high top speed, impressive driving characteristics all round, plus superb road holding. Inside, the Carltons are unusually spacious and lavishly luxurious. The upholstery is in a rich velour cloth. Front seats have adjustable head restraint, and the driver's seat also adjustable for height as well as rake. A push button radio and fully retractable aerial are also standard on both models, so from first glance it seems like quite a high spec car. In the background there we can see the very practical estate, and that profile you can really see that sort of droop snoot and making it certainly look quite aerodynamic at least. And of course there is the saloon. Let's open the first page though and see how the range is at this time. First model is just a model called the Carlton Saloon, and you'll almost think, oh, like Ford, does this mean this is not even the L, the base model? Then you look at it, what lovely seats and head restraints. Surely it can't start the range like this, and no it can't, because I think the failing with the Mark 1 Carlton was there was just one spec, so you can either have a saloon and estate, that is it. Where if it's competing against things like the Granada, which had a vast range and different engines, lots of different trim levels, you wonder how this could possibly compete with that. And even when you think about what essentially is the same car, the Rekord E, even that had the L, the Bellina, and then the Bellina HL, and then this is just one spec, so I just thought that's a little bit weird. Anyway, let's have a look how it is described and what is quite high specifications, but just one trim level. So the Carlton Saloon, 4-door, 5-seat saloon, 2000 engine, 1 full specification. So you don't even have an engine choice here. A magnificent blend of space, luxury, quality and refinement all through makes the Carlton one of the most impressive saloons available in its class. Nice specification though, I can't say anything about that. It starts with a velour cloth trim, which is my favourite trim at the time. Reclined front seats, front inertia seat belts, driver's seat adjustment for height, adjustable front head restraints, carpeted rear parcel shelf, boot mat, front rear armrests, rear centre armrest, laminated screen, push button radio, front door map pockets, central console, a vanity mirror, lockable and illuminated glove box, dipping rear view mirror, front rear assist straps, childproof rear door locks, internal bonnet lock, heated rear window, stalk controls for headlamp dip, flash, direction indicators, 2-speed wipers and intermittent wipe, an electric screen wash, underbonnet light, boot light, cigar lighter, ashtrays front and rear, fresh air heater with 4-speed blower fan, illuminated heater controls, adjustable face level air vents, side window demist vents, instrument console incorporating speedometer, odometer, trip speedo, quartz clock, fuel and water temperature gauges, central vertical bank of warning lights including hand brake, clutch wear alerts. And then the exterior, we get that underbody seal treatment, chrome tailpipe, acrylic lacquer paint, front air dam, rubber bumper inserts, front rear overriders, body side mouldings, halogen headlamps, twin door mirrors, hazard warning flashes, reverse lights, lockable fuel cap, bright wheel trims, 175 SR radials, and the options include things like a sunroof, auto transmission, alloy road wheels and metallic paint. So the specifications are high, and then if you look at the options and put all those options on there, you do get a very high spec car, and I guess that's why they trying to make up for not having all the different trim levels like Ford. But obviously it limits the price range, and I think Ford were very good at making a super basic one just so you can get into the car. So I think that is a little bit of a failing, but certainly if you had things like alloy wheels on this car, it is a very nice looking and high spec vehicle, there's no doubt about that. We get a little bit of a nice image of the airflow on there, and it tells you things like the booster fan has 4 speeds, etc, etc, and then we get a nice image of the rear. I always like the Carlton from the rear as well from this time. They did it slightly different than the Rekord. I quite liked how they had the Vauxhall lettering in this dark area in between the rear lights, and I seem to remember the Rekord having the number plate more in this sort of section, but with a Carlton dropped it to the rear bumper in between those sorts of overriders, and I quite like that look. Very simply badged because there was just one spec, so it just quite simply says Carlton 2000, which all of them would have done at this time. Here is the interior and those lovely velour cloth trimmed seats, which actually look really nice, as does the door cards. Unusual dash actually on the Carlton in that it was this sort of like section, like almost like a hooded type section where it was like a box. So I'm not describing it very well, but I'll have a look at a better picture in the moment, which was certainly unusual. And they added things like wood, so it looked quite different, even though it was basically the same car. Like I say, it looked quite different on the inside when you compared it to the Rekord. Actually, I guess it's a good time to have a better look at that dash. And actually, there wasn't a better picture in that 78 brochure. I had to dig out a brochure from 1980 to give you an idea. Very sort of boxy sort of design, and you can see they've kind of added some wood there to brighten it up. And if we go to the drawing, actually, you can probably work out how it looks on a whole, and kind of like how weirdly it is that it goes right into that passenger, right way along, almost to the other pillar at the other door, which is very unusual design, and a lot of wood there as well. Now if we compare that to the Opel version, a much more sombre affair really, certainly more, I guess, more of a Germanic look, I guess, more of the all black look. So yeah, they were the same car, but if you saw them, went to the dealership to look at the Rekord and then the Carlton, you could certainly pick which one you preferred, couldn't you, both from the outside and the inside. And remember, you could even buy the Rekord in the UK as well as the Carlton at this time. And then the main picture is this rather lovely looking example. I do like the colour they picked. It's very 70s, isn't it? But somehow it matches and looks quite good with the Carlton. I always liked Vauxhalls of this era. They were very proud to put that badge on the front and droop snoot, weren't they? So yeah, great colour. Like I say, I preferred this to the Rekord, but that's purely a personal thing. I kind of like that droop snoot look, and I like the rear. I must admit, I prefer the inside as well. I think it, lifts it a bit, having that wood. More of a sort of UK traditional interior, I guess. Throw some wood in there randomly. And I guess the Opel one, more of that Germanic look where it's all like dark and sombre. I guess the question is, if you're in the UK, which model do you buy? Do you go for this Carlton, which is a very nice spec, but you've only got one trim level? Or indeed, like most people did, go for the Granada? And of course you've got, the Rover ST1, which has got terrible build quality but looks fantastic, and I guess maybe you could say the Princess also kind of competes, the higher spec Princesses. And then of course you've got the French cars, haven't you? You've got the CXs and big Renault 30. So plenty of choice to go for, but like I say, this is a brand new model at this time. I guess that's in its favour. It looks modern, it looks quite futuristic, I think, as well, with that droop snoot on there as well. But the choice isn't just this model, there is an estate as well, so let's have a look at that. And here it is, the very practical Carlton estate, a great load look at, there's no doubt about that, as were these 70s and sort of 80s estates. They were very practical. I'm kind of sad that estates are no longer with us, really. I say estates, that's just a UK thing. Wagons everywhere else, really. Anyway, let's have a look at the description. Again, just one model, and then we'll come back to these images. So the estate, so it's a 5-door estate, just that one engine, 2000 power, comprehensive luxury specifications. Being a sleekly styled, luxuriously appointed car with the versatility of full passenger comfort, enormous load carrying ability, the Carlton is the ideal family estate. For business users, the Carlton is a thoroughly practical load carrier, sturdy, economical, with large load area and capacity, plus easy loading. Every aspect of the Carlton estate shows practicality because it was designed as an estate. Note the square shaped rear for maximum utilisation of load space, vital to many business users. A flat floor, extra wide tailgate opening and low loading height further emphasises its virtues as a genuine workhorse. Specifications for the Carlton estate is identical to that of the Saloon except for cargo area rear end bodywork, and then it kind of like tells you some of the dimensions there, and it says the differences between that Saloon. So fold down rear seats, carpeted load deck, spare wheel cover, load compartment lights, tailgate courtesy switch, tailgate wash wipe, and then the options of the auto, metallic paint, alloy wheels and a sunroof. And there it goes, showing that, a typical estate image really, isn't it? How much space you can get in with the seat back or folded down to have a huge amount of space. Very practical for the time though. I mean, a huge amount of space, low lip, practical car, although you notice it's not a split folding rear seat, it is just one bench that folds down. But I do like how nicely carpeted it is. And in this colour, again, what a attractive looking colour it is for the estate. I always liked the Vauxhall colour palette actually. They had a real wide range of colours and I really like them. I wish we could bring those back today. The number plates or registration plates in a more typical place, as you can see on the estate or wagon version. So specifications are pretty simple, as there is just that one model, that 2000 or 1979cc cam-in head 4-cylinder engine. It's doing 100 bhp at 5200 rpm by the looks of it, and it's got an automatic choke, and the transmission, mechanical clutch, 4-speed all synchromesh gearbox, although of course we can option that GM automatic if we wish. Suspension is independent front with McPherson struts, coil springs, live axle and coil springs at rear, located by 4 trailing links, front and rear anti-roll bars. Brakes are dual circuit servo assisted, discs at front, drums at rear. Steering is a recirculating ball system, 32.5 foot turning circle and energy absorbing steering column. And it gives you the wheels and tyres, the electrics, fuel capacity and then the boot capacity. Gross vehicle weight, recommended maximum towing weight, and sort of the weight for the roof rack. And then they're quite nice colours you can have for these Carltons. So Polo white, Jamaica yellow, orange tan, bright green, pine green, ember red, royal blue, pastel blue, regatta blue, jade green metallic, sapphire blue metallic and bright copper metallic. And as with all these models, the metallic is an extra cost item. And here is the rather nice colour palette for Vauxhalls in 78, so bright green, polar white, Jamaica yellow and pastel blue at the end there, orange tan, regatta blue, royal red, jade green metallic, ember red, pine green, sapphire blue metallic, bright copper metallic. Really a lovely colour palette, like I say, for the time. Next week we can, I guess, go up a sort of trim level higher and just pick a completely different model, the Royal. So maybe that's why they didn't have so many different trim levels from the Rekord, because they knew they had this nicer spec Royal in their armoury. Anyway, thank you for so much for watching today, and Quarterlight and the Vauxhall Carlton. I wonder what you would have picked. Would you have gone for a Carlton? Maybe gone for the sister Rekord? Maybe on French? Or would you indeed gone for the popular choice, the Granada at the time? Interesting to know. Just in the comments. I always like reading your opinions. And indeed, if you remember these Carltons, always love stories about the cars themselves, whether they're great, fantastic or a complete disaster. Always interesting to read for some reason, but I do appreciate every one of your stories. We'll end by saying thank you so much for watching today. If you've not done already, please do like and subscribe. It's completely free, helps the channel greatly, and of course you do take care. We'll see you very soon, and goodbye.